Hello and welcome. Our top focus at this hour is on education. In a significant step, the Calcutta High Court has ordered that no student can be barred from entering the school even if their fees is outstanding. And the school authorities will not be able to close the school in the name of law and order situation in case any conflict arises. This comes after some schools suspended classes recently after protests by guardians over pending fees. The schools had earlier said that while most guardians had paid fees, a section had only paid a part of it. Meanwhile, the parents alleged that students were being refused promotion to the next class over non-payment of fees.
हम लोग बहुत एक साल से प्रोटेस्ट में थे और इलीगली स्कूल वालों ने मतलब कि 20% वाले जो 80% फ़ीस दिए उनको ले नहीं रहे थे, 20% की वजह से रोक रहे थे। हम लोग कई मरतबा स्कूल बच्चों को लेके गए लेकिन उन लोगों ने स्कूल में एंट्री नहीं दी और बाहर निकाल दिया गया। फेस ये करना पड़ा कि कई मरतबा हम लोगों ने स्कूल ले जाया गया लेकिन उन लोगों ने एंट्री नहीं दी, बाहर से वापस कर दिया गया, गेट रिपोर्ट कार्ड नहीं दिया, प्रमोशन कार्ड नहीं दिया, रोक दिया, धक्का दिया टीचर लोगों ने।
जो भी ऑनरेबल कोर्ट ने बोला, शुरू से कोर्ट ने ये कहा पेंडेमिक ईयर में 80% फीस आप लोगों को देना है। हम लोगों ने ईच एंड एवरी गार्जियन हैज़ पेड 80% फीस वॉट एवर कोर्ट हैज़ बीन सेड। बीच में सबसे बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण ये बात है कि हमारे स्कूल जो लिटिल स्टेप स्कूल जीडी बिल्ला का है, हमारे बच्चों को स्कूल में एंटर करने नहीं दिएगा, हमारे बच्चों को रिपोर्ट कार्ड नहीं दिया गया, हमारे बच्चों को प्रमोशन नहीं दिया गया और सबसे बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात यह है कि हमारे बच्चों को ठेला भी गया टीचर लोगों के द्वारे से।
On 6th April, the High Court had given an order stating that no child can be removed from the class, or he cannot be stopped from getting promoted, or his or her report card cannot be stopped by the school. But the schools, especially 5 of the schools from the Birla group, Ashok Hall group, they were creating all the mess and they were actually creating problem for the students, and they were not allowing the students who had paid fees as per the High Court orders to allow them to get into the classes. So they were being thrown out. And one special case of Hind Motor Education Center that came across, they had confined several children to a classroom, then behind collapsible gates, and they were calling parents that your child is confined to a separate room, he or she is safe, you come with this amount of money and then your child will be released.
All right, I'm joined by Tanushri, who's reporting live from Kolkata on this significant order. Tanushri, thank you for joining us. For the benefit of our viewers, could you take us through the kind of protests that have happened in Kolkata in the recent past and the students who've been barred for non-payment of fees?
Well, certainly, if you see, the protest had happened on 7th of April when we had seen that GD Birla, Mahadevi Birla, the Ashok Hall group, they had actually shut all their gates for the students in total. Now, there were certain parents who claimed that they had paid the entire fees, and even then the school had been closed down because of certain parents who were not paying the entire fees. Now, those petitioners, they had gone to Calcutta High Court saying that they were following the Calcutta High Court's order. During the pandemic, we know that the schools were closed, and that is when it was alleged by the petitioners that the schools were charging the entire fees even though the lab, the bus facilities and several other sports facilities were not being used, but the school was charging that. That is when the Calcutta High Court had moved forward and said that only 80%, that is the basic fees can be charged, but the other fees like the school, like the sports fees, lab fees, bus fees, those cannot be charged. Now, after the school reopened, the school authorities, according to the petitioners, they claim that the full fees has to be paid and not the 80%, which is why the petitioners had moved to Calcutta High Court. Now, the petitioners had also stated that their children were humiliated in a way that they were made to step out of the class, stay in another classroom. They were made to not enter the schools. In certain cases, the school gates were shut on their face. They were also not being given the progress report or promotion. Now, that is when the petitioners once again moved to Calcutta High Court, and the Calcutta High Court has categorically stated that no promotion can be stopped. The children have to be allowed into the school even though the school fees are completely not paid, and also that a committee has been formed where they would be looking into the 145 schools fee cases and give a report to the Calcutta High Court. Back to studio.
All right, thank you, Tanushri, for those updates and bringing us up to speed with a very important development that's unfolding in the state of West Bengal. I'm also joined by my guest on the broadcast, Anubha S. Sahai, who's president of India-wide Parents Association, and Manju Gupta, who's an educationist. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. I would like to start with Anubha Sahai. Ma'am, what is your view on this? The court has said that schools cannot bar students from entering if their fees is pending. Now, there is a contract that exists between the parents and schools because both sides have to take care of their concerns. But is it fair to deny somebody education because they have not been able to pay their fees for whatever reason?
Yeah, Archana, thanks for having me here. And it's a very important discussion, a very important issue actually across India. It's not only in West Bengal or Kolkata that such issues are happening. It's across India that we are finding such problems which parents are facing in COVID. Now, as far as the as far as the education is concerned, even NCT's guidelines, RT Act is very much clear that a student cannot be discriminated for whatsoever reason, be it any dispute related to fees or any other issue. A student cannot be discriminated, which these schools are doing. Even in COVID times, these schools are harassing children, harassing parents. They're targeting. It's like it's a corporal punishment. Even if you're punishing a child for any reason, even if for fees, if you're sending the child out of school, you're not allowing them to attend the classes, then it's corporal punishment. It's child cruelty and it's punishable under Section 75 of JJ Act also. So all these schools which are flouting the norms, they are not. They're charging 100% fees. These schools should be audited and strict punishment should be given to all these schools for targeting children. Even Honorable Supreme Court has intervened and they have also said that schools cannot target children over fee dispute and the education should continue in COVID time. And we know that how parents are struggling literally for getting education in online mode or hybrid mode. So I really welcome the order of Honorable High Court, and I think all these schools should respect the order and also should come forward and get their accounts audited, because huge misappropriation of funds is happening even in Maharashtra. When the schools were audited, it was found that more than 10 crores in some schools, they were making profit of more than 10 crores. Huge surplus was there. Okay. A reasonable surplus is allowed to keep. Schools can keep a reasonable surplus, but what these schools are doing, they're misusing the funds.
Okay.
They're diverting the funds. There are a lot of misappropriation of funds which is happening. And now it is high time that the court has intervened. It's a good move by Honorable High Court, and all the 149 schools must be audited and punishment should be given to the school for taking action for targeting children or fee dispute.
Okay, so you are saying that schools are not utilizing funds optimally. That's a very important point you're making. I would like to ask Manju Gupta, who's an educationist and has been a principal herself. Ms. Gupta, what is your take on this? You are of view that fees must be paid. So what is the solution if somebody is unable to pay the fees for their children and their children are not getting promoted to the next class, or classes are being held, schools are being shut? So what does one do in such a scenario? What is your view on this entire development?
Well, genuinity of the problem has to be checked in. If a parent is genuinely not able to pay the fees taken, he should be granted some discounts, and 80% or whatever is the norm set by the Supreme Court, High Court, or any other court, or the appeal of the parents, that should be taken care, and the schools are taking care of that. But there is a big lobby of parents who can pay and are spending on anything else but on school fees. So their all logic goes that school fee is not that important. The child's education is not all that important, and there has to be discount in the school fees. Do they ask for discounts in any other area? So my call is, and my submission is, that the parents who can pay the fees, who have not had any misfortune during this COVID time, are demanding the fee discounts is not legitimate. But yes, of course, if there are parents who have had big losses during pandemic, they should be given discounts or the fee waivers. But just to say that because the school was not in full function and the expenditures were not there, well, I don't agree with that. No school has charged bus fees. I want to clear it to all. As much as I know, no school has charged bus fees in spite of paying they bought the buses and there was a subsidy on the buses, etc., etc., and they were paying bus charges also to the banks. So if they were doing that, who will pay for that? But I'm not saying don't charge bus fees, but at least please, parents, pay the fees so that the schools can function, the teachers also get their salary, the schools are maintained well, where your children go. And you have chosen to go the private schools where you want your children to study. Well, those private schools with higher infrastructure, you've chosen because they have better infrastructure, better teachers, or whatever is your belief. So once you've chosen these schools over government schools, then come on, then pay the fees for it. You have to. If you don't pay, well, quality costs. So if quality costs, please pay the fees and let your children not suffer because of your whims and fancies. I call it, I have met enough parents who had their whims and fancies. Dekhe humse fees lekar kaise lenge humse fees. And why do this to your children? You go to 5-star hotels, you go to all kinds of other expenditures you undergo, but when it comes to paying the school fees, all cuts come in your pocket. So my humble request to all parents is that pay the fees as you have chosen the school and let your children study happily. So please do not deny education to your child by not paying the school fees. You are harming your child by not doing that. And second thing, you have chosen that school. And since you chose that school has a fee structure and you had agreed, that's the contract between you and the school that you will pay the school fees. And you have to abide by that contract. And please understand, be humble, understand the school's perspective also, that schools need money to maintain quality, the teacher quality, the infrastructure quality, the education quality. And if you don't pay fees, how would the schools run? And if you think you cannot pay, move to the government schools where your child studies with no fees. I promote that. Please move to government school, put pressure on government to improve the quality of their schools, and you are paying taxes, so your child's education becomes free, and the private schools are not bothered by you. So humble request, pay the fees.
All right, so those are very strong views, Manju Gupta. And Abha Sahai, one counter from you. So as Manju Gupta said that you've made a choice. As a parent, you've made a choice to send your children to a private school. So by all means, you should be paying the fees. And if there is a genuine reason, of course, the schools can consider. But it's the parents who are denying education to the children by not paying the fees. Do you agree with it?
See, I don't think there may be some set of parents, not all. I don't think, because no parent will ever want their child to be out of school. And education, many parents have even taken loan. You'll not believe, many parents have taken loan, and so many parents are calling me that they have lost money, they have lost job, and they don't have money with them. So, see, these are difficult times. It never happened ever that because of parents, see, school kabhi hai jab parents hai. When parents are paying fees, parents have been paying fees since many years. And these schools are having surplus. See, I agree. See, even in COVID, I agree with what my co-panelists said, that yes, school will not run until as they will get the proper fees.
Right.
There are many schools in several states, which private schools and aided and unaided, they have been literally shut down. So we have requested even government to intervene and provide them some kind of financial support. Some financial support should be provided even by the government, state government. They have RT, they have a lot of other funds that can be utilized if the parents are not willing to pay or they are not able to pay the fees. This education should continue. It is the responsibility of the government also to ensure that each and every child will get education in any private school or a government school. So if a school is not able to survive because of the fees, which the parents are not able to pay, then I think government should also step in provide some kind of financial aid to these private schools. But yes, there are some institutions which are making profit. We know all the details. We have a lot of details of many big schools. They are making profit. Today also, the incident occurred in Gurugram, where a child was crushed.
Yes,
inside.
that we've been reporting that. Yes, very unfortunate piece of incident. Yeah.
And there was no conductor. So means you're misusing the funds. Where is the conductor? Why they have not provided the bus conductor facility and all this? So it is there. Schools are misusing funds, no doubt. Not all schools, I would say, but yes, there are some schools they are misusing funds, and there should be strict check and balance. And these schools should be punished after conducting audit. Why schools are not providing their audit their balance sheet to the education department? You go and check with any education department across India. You will not find their you won't find any audit report. Audit reports are missing in education
Absolutely, those
department.
are, yes, you've made some very significant points.
Misappropriation of fund which is happening by some private schools, not all. And if some schools are having some shortage of funds, then I think government should step in and support these schools also.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anubha Saha and Manju Gupta, for the kind of views that you've offered, the insights that you've offered, and you've widened the horizon of this conversation. It's important to hear both sides. And the idea behind this conversation is to ensure that no child is denied education for whatever reason. It is important that our education system is such that it can accommodate every child, irrespective of their background, irrespective of their finances. So that is the conversation that we were having on Mirror Now, as promised, that education remains our top focus. Shifting focus to another top story of the day, which is coming in from Uttar Pradesh, and we'll get you more details on that. But first up, we'll take a short break. We'll be back.